Hey there, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another video. I feel like every single time that I make a new video I say, it's been a long time since I've made a video, but it has. To my left I can see most of my Colorado film that I still haven't gotten developed yet, but that's okay. This video is a little different. I used my Nikon FM2 and I used my friend from work, shout out Mikey, I used his Nikon F2. In his camera, I loaded a roll of what, in my mind, is my favorite black and white 35mm, which would be Ilford HP5. His favorite is Tri-X, so I put that into my FM2. Both of the cameras had a 50mm lens on them of 1.8, and I went out and I shot a handful of different things. So I'm very excited to show you guys this video. I think the results of the scans and everything kind of proved to me exactly kind of what I thought about each of the film stocks, but I'll let you guys be the deciding factor on which one that you like better. Now, just to preface this, this video is in no way to say that HP5 is better than Tri-X or Tri-X is better than HP5. It's just personally my opinion. Obviously, you're more than welcome to have your own opinion. So if you do have an opinion on this, leave it down in the comments below and let's get into the video. Hope you guys enjoy. I do feel like it's important to mention, because I definitely forgot to mention it in the intro of the video, both of these films were shot at their box speed of 400. Usually when I'm shooting my HP5, I pull it to 200. I just think that the grain structure is a little bit better, the shadows are a little bit lighter, and I just kind of like the way that it looks. But for this test, I wanted to shoot both of them at their box speed. Okay, once again, absolute massive, huge, massive shout out to Mikey. I've got the F2 now. So I've got the FM2 loaded with the Ilford HP5, and then I have his F2 loaded with the Tri-X 400. So I'm gonna hit the road. We're probably gonna stop at like an overpass, not an overpass, like a overlook kind of thing, and do a couple photos of the mountains. So, man, I'm excited for this test. This is so sick. I cannot lie, walking up this steep ass hill just kicks my ass, and the view wasn't even that good. Oh well. Another quick little note, as I'm editing this video, the HP5 images will always be on the left side and the Tri-X will always be on the right side. Just so I don't have to sit there and edit in HP5 and Tri-X each time. But if it's single shots, then it'll be marked. Yeah. So I've shot this exact photo behind me on medium format. If I can find it, I'll put it in here. But it was color, so I'd like to see it on black and white, and I think it'll be a good test. The way that I'm going to test both of these films is I did some landscapes earlier, then I'm going to do some kind of architectural type things, and then also end up doing some portraits. That way I can really get a nice test of like how the film reacts in different situations. So one of the things that I notice that the biggest difference is, for me at least, with the FM2 versus the F2 is everything like shutter speed and ISO is a little bit more accessible for me at least. Maybe it's just because I'm used to it more on the FM2. However, the F2 feels like a little bit easier to shoot with. You don't have to have like the advance lever kind of like pulled even to take a shot, which is really interesting on the FM2. I guess maybe it's so if you're moving around, you're not like, if you're not conscious about it, you're not accidentally taking a shot or something like that. But it's definitely something that bugs me, because when I'm shooting vertically, usually the lever ends up being like in my eye or really near being in my eye. So that's one thing that I like about the F2 a little bit better than the FM2. I'm gonna go just a few more spots, take a few photos, and then call it there, because I want to be able to still have enough shots to do portraits and stuff like that. If you've followed me for a while, like on Instagram, or if you've watched any of my videos, you'll know this spot. I figured since I know it pretty good, it'd be a good spot to come back and shoot again on black and white. They've actually just bayed like all this hay, or baled it, whatever it's called, but they've got all that, and I think that'll look really cool in some shots. So I'll probably spend 2 or 3 shots here. Alright, so if you've watched any of my videos prior to this one, then you kind of know what's getting ready to happen. We've made it a handful of minutes into the video, and I completely stopped vlogging with my phone just about any of the places that I go to, because I'm an idiot and I forget to pull my phone out and shoot a quick little video. So coming up next, I have to end up going to a wedding for some of my friends. I take a handful of shots there, so that's what you're going to see next, is shots from the wedding. I'm not even going to show you this shot on Tri-X. This shot on Ilford is one of my best photos I think I've ever taken, especially black and white. There's just something about it, and I love it to death. So after the wedding was over, packed up and headed over to one of my friends' houses the next day. Took this shot of a pool being built. Don't know why, just like it. Seems like a good shot. And then after that, headed to a small town called Canton in North Carolina, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. Okay, so I got about halfway through both of those rolls. Now I'm heading to a smaller town outside of Asheville called Canton. There's like a paper plant and stuff like that I want to shoot there to test both of the films. Like I said before, the Ilford is only 26 exposure while the Tri-X is a 34, so I'll probably end up trying to finish off the roll of Ilford today and then just shooting whatever on the rest of the Tri-X. So I'll take video when I get to Canton. This shot here of the mill with the Main Street sign in the foreground really kind of shows the biggest comparison of the two film stocks for me personally. The highlights in the Ilford on the left seem a little bit more smoother. The grain structure seems to be a little bit nicer, where on the right, the Tri-X seems to be a little bit more grainy. However, the more that I'm looking at these two images together, the Tri-X seems really, really nice. Like, it feels like it's working better. I think there's something to be said about the way that the white on the Main Street sign looks on the Tri-X, and I think I really like the Tri-X in this image. So that's the last of the Canon images. Really happy that I got to go there and got to shoot. Really want to go back with the Pentax and shoot some color. I had such a kind of reminiscent feeling of shooting my photo project of the chemical cohabitation, where it's this smaller town, but right in the center of the town is this very large plant of sorts, where Kingsport was obviously Eastman, so it's a chemical plant. In Canton, it is actually just a paper mill. but there was still certain things that felt similar there, and I definitely want to go back and shoot. The rest of these photos I'm not going to talk a whole lot about until we go into a deeper analysis of some of the select photos, but the rest of the photos are just kind of me spending off the rest of the rolls. A couple of shots of friends, and that's about it. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to thank you if you've made it this far into the video. It does mean a lot to me. We're going to now kind of do a little bit of a deep dive on just a few select images. The first one being the Canton Mill, the landscape image from downtown on a bridge. This image on HP5 I think really kind of shows HP5's like the reason why I enjoy HP5. Your shadows are not super grainy at all. The highlights are very, very smooth in comparison. The whites of the smokestacks that are coming out, you have a pretty stark difference between that and the sky. There's a nice little differentiation there. Now, on the other hand of this image is obviously the Tri-X version of it. The first thing that I noticed back to back looking at these side to side is the Tri-X shadows are so much darker. The blacks are way richer. They're very, very stark contrast between your light and your dark. And looking at these two images now, they actually portray the midtones are somewhat similar. There is a little bit more grain, obviously, in my opinion, with the Tri-X. But one thing that's really surprised me throughout this whole process of doing this is how much the Tri-X pushes forward the white. And you can really tell that in the street lamp in the Tri-X image. I feel like where you have such a stark contrast between the shadows and the white with Tri-X, I can see why shooting more like, not landscape, but like architecture, downtown kind of gritty alleys and stuff like that, where like that film stock will really come into its own there. And I think that is one thing that I really learned about the Tri-X that I'm actually a huge fan of. The next image that we're going to be taking a deeper dive into and looking at is still a photo of the Canton paper mill. This one is the vertical one, which you're seeing on your screen right now. And again, I feel like the same things kind of apply, where there's a little bit more graininess in the Tri-X, at least in the highlights that I'm really seeing. And then the shadow that's casted underneath the building where the truck is so much darker on the Tri-X versus the Ilford. And again, that comes down to personal preference. Like, do you like that? Is that something that you're wanting? All of these were developed and scanned by me, so there was no differences in the process there either. But it's just the darkness of the shadows on Tri-X are so much starker than they are with the Ilford. And I think the reason why I like HP5 is because it's not as contrasty as the Tri-X is, especially when it's shot at 200. But even shooting it at box speed side by side, you still have a little bit more of that less contrasty, a little bit more soft in the Ilford. The last image that we're going to be looking at was the last image on the HP5 roll, which is a shot of my friend Ben and my other friend Tayo. Tayo had been working hard all day, so he's very, very tired and kind of over it, but he was still very nice and let me pose them and take their picture twice. What I will say is I definitely missed my focus on the Tri-X roll, so that one's on me. I'm not gonna lie, but I think for portraits, just me personally, I prefer the HP5. I prefer the softness. I think that it rendered the skin tones just a little bit better than Tri-X did. Tri-X, again, was maybe just a little too contrasty for me when it came to rendering skin tones. And as you can see underneath my friend Ben's face, right underneath his beard, is way dark on the Tri-X, and it actually kind of just looks more smooth on the HP5. Again, this is all just my personal preference. This is my personal opinion. I'm not upset with either of these shots, but I just think that the lower contrast of the HP5 worked out better in this situation. So thank you for joining me for another video. I would love to be more consistent with these, and I appreciate you being patient with me. If you've watched through this far, I really do appreciate it, and please do drop a comment. Let me know what film stock you ended up liking better, and if this right here helped you make a decision next time that you go to the film store or next time that you order some. I would love to be able to make more videos like this, but obviously working a full-time, well, 2 jobs basically, does not really allow me to do this super often. I am constantly shooting film though, constantly learning new things. I still have so many rolls from my Colorado and California trip to get developed, to get scanned, and get through. So one day, hopefully, you can expect a video from both of those trips, and they will be me shutting the hell up and just letting photos speak for themselves. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you made it this far in the video, seriously, I super appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Give me a like, drop a comment, whatever. Tell me I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with film. Either way, I do appreciate the support. Thanks so much. Till next time.